Hello, everyone. I wanted to come on and give you a few of my quick tips for using nonviolent communication because nonviolent communication is like a language that you're learning how to speak. And at first, it can be difficult because it's kind of robotic. It's like trying to think before, okay, this is my observation and I feel like this because I need this. Can you please? Right? And it can feel like a robot to you and to the people you're talking about. But I have found some really, really helpful things. I have been studying and practicing nonviolent communication in all of my relationships for the last 5 or 6 years. And there are some things that have been helpful to me. So the first thing is when you're thinking about feelings, Marshall Rosenberg will have a whole list of these feelings indicate that your needs are being met. And that's really helpful. And then this list of feelings means that your needs are not being met. And really what it is these are positive feelings, right? Of well-being and happiness and peace and joy. Now this positive list means, oh, my needs are being met. This negative list of I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling afraid. This negative list means my needs are not being met. So your emotions are really kind of just in two categories. Do I feel really positive or do I feel really negative? Now, those are super, super important because they're telling you to look at the deeper need. Either to say, oh, my needs are being met. I wonder what is meeting my needs and what needs are being met, and to express gratitude. Or here, ooh, this is indicating that my needs are not being met. Let me get curious about it. So the feelings are really meant to point you to the need because the feeling is kind of more on the surface. You're going to notice it more readily. But if you are like me and you grew up in an environment and a culture that told you to suppress these negative emotions, it might be really difficult to access the negative emotion and take it seriously to be able to point to the unmet need. Because the reason why I say these are negative is because they are painful, but they're meant to be painful. They're meant to say, look at me, give me attention, right? And so they're actually a really, really helpful internal guidance system that tells you, oh, I'm experiencing something negative. That means I have an unmet need. Let me look deeper. So if I were going to name nonviolent communication, I would call it needs-based communication. So the most important thing really is that you can get to the bottom line, which is what is your unmet need and what is the other person's unmet need if you're in a conflict. So as soon as you can get to that, the better. The emotion, I really feel like, is for you. It's information to just tell you to go deeper to the need. So whether or not you communicate the feeling is not the most important thing. It's just telling you go deeper. And when you see another person kind of getting emotional, that tells you to get curious about their need also. So another thing with needs that really helps me is Marshall Rosenberg later on, as he taught nonviolent communication, originally he had this long list of needs, but then he felt it was much better to have a shorter list. So he decided to focus on the 9 universal needs that are described by Manfred Max Neef. And those 9 needs I like to think of in 3 groups of 3. It's really helpful to memorize them because when you get curious about a need, you can go to that list and say, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And when you land on the need that is the right one that's being unmet, you go, there's a sense of recognition. So I put those 9 needs into 3 groups of 3. That helps me remember them. The first 3 are pretty much physical needs. They are sustenance, which is going to include food and water and sun. And then the second one is safety. That's going to include, structure for you, and it's also shelter. It's also going to include maybe financial security. The third one is rest or sleep, recreation. That's all in there. So the three physical are sustenance, safety, and rest. Okay, now the middle three I would call interpersonal needs, and those are going to be affection, empathy or understanding, and respect. Okay, so affection, empathy or understanding, and respect. And then the third three needs are, I would say, kind of higher spiritual needs, individual needs, and they are for creativity, meaning or purpose, and autonomy or freedom. Okay, so we have got the physical needs, sustenance, and safety, and rest, and then the interpersonal needs, which are for affection, empathy, and respect. And then you have the three higher needs for creativity, meaning, and autonomy. Okay, so if you can remember those 9, it's very, very helpful when you're getting curious about a need. And as soon as you can identify your own need and the need of the other person, then you can get really creative, because sometimes the other person cannot meet your need. And that will be not personal, but because they have a competing need. So sometimes it might be, I can't meet your need right now because in this moment it competes with my need for rest. Or if someone is expressing their need in a tragic way and is getting scary, that will compete with this person's need for safety. If this person is expressing their need in a demanding way, that will compete with this person's need for autonomy and freedom. So sometimes it's how we're communicating, that the actual way we're communicating is competing with the need. But those are my tips. Just think of the feelings, don't get too bogged down in the feelings. It's just, my need is being met or my need is not being met. Feel it in your body, then get deeper, go through the 9 needs, and get creative about how to get those needs met. I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I love, love, love to help people become more fluent in the language of nonviolent communication.